Hi friends, today's Papa Positive is all about, and I'm literally on the cuff on this one because I just can't stop thinking about it, but it's a situation that we all face, and it's a timing in our lives that we all experience, and it's called uncertainty, and how you respond to it, and whether or not having a positive mindset actually changes or affects your situation. So I'll give you an example of where I experienced this in my life and where I've overcome. So I had 3 pregnancies in 6 years. Each of them were back to back to every 2 years, basically. I was pregnant or breastfeeding for an entire 6 years. What I experienced right before birth every time was the most incredible anxiety and uncertainty because there was always some sort of thing going on in the world. So like when the first pregnancy, it was something like something was low and it was like, oh, okay, you could run this risk during the birth, right? Came out fine. Second pregnancy, it was the Zika virus. Zika virus was legit. My husband had gone to Costa Rica. They were like, oh, you're now on watch, and you got watched every week after that. The third pregnancy, it was, I forget what was her, I think that was the most normal pregnancy that I had, and the challenge was that, okay, then I'm quote unquote older, so that was my issue there. But long story short, every week prior to birth, I had this like increasing level of anxiety because they were all a week late, which meant my due date came and went, and they had to say like, okay, you're either going to be induced or you're going to get this baby out. So I did, like, went through everything that I found on YouTube and everywhere else to kind of make myself go into labor. And each time I did everything one day and like go into labor the next night. But what I learned was that you can calm your spirit and your soul. You can calm your spirit and your soul if you believe in a higher power or supreme being, or have a word or message that saves you from yourself. So in my situation, I went on Pinterest and I found all these Bible verses. They talked about childbirth and like believing that God will bring you through it, and the challenge that you're facing is greater in your mind than it actually is in your body. And each time I did it, like the first delivery was I think 4 or 5 hours. The second one was 20 minutes. Crazy. Almost had her in the what do you call it? The car line. Like didn't even valet the car. Seriously. Almost had her in the actual lobby. And the last one almost had her. Well, no, we ended up having to like rush to like an OR room just to deliver it because I walked into the hospital and literally was ready to go. But what I learned from this, and why I'm even bringing this up as a message, is because what I understand more and more about anxiety and uncertain times is that find a word that saves you. So I have mantras, I have affirmations, they change, but there are things that comfort me in those crazy times. And that what it means for me is that I'm never alone. I have God's word. I have the word of the higher powers and the supreme beings. Whatever you believe in, take that word and have it ready for when you're dealing with uncertain times. Like we're experiencing crazy things now and in the past and will in the future. But just be ready and arm yourself with something that keeps you grounded and helps you to stay positive and know that like everything's going to be okay. Because I think what I learned through the first birth, actually, I did not calm myself prior to. So I got to a level of kind of like, on the movies, like women like screaming out and all that, and it's not actually the way it works because you need your breath. You need that breath. But I wasn't doing that. I started to do that, and the nurse pulled me to the side, tapped on my shoulder and said, no, that's not how we're doing this here. And when she said that, I started to relax because it comforted me in that time, but also I started to understand like the fear was greater than it needed to be. So her words calmed me. If I had armed myself in advance with those words that I used for the other births, I probably would have been fine. So that's today's Papa Positive, and as always, keep a positive mind and keep your thoughts as high as you can.